economic crisis is a very significant thing that we're facing in Europe at the moment, whether we're talking about digital transformation, the AI and the influence it's having in our lives already, whether we're talking about climate change and the transitions that we are going to be facing in our communities, in our homes, in our professions, or whether we're talking about the health issues that are becoming far more prevalent as we live a longer life. I mean, there's a number of issues that are facing us on a daily basis that are combined and are catalyzing each other. They're having an impact across each other.
Certainly the past few months we have all witnessed the challenges we are facing with in society, the wicked problems and super wicked problems, the grand challenges, and I think we all collectively understand that we have to deal with these challenges and with the urgency, the complexity and the uncertainty of these issues, and I think these three topics are really at the core of what we have to deal with in education as well.
I think it's about time that we have to focus more deeply, more specifically into preparing our school leaders. Because as I mentioned this morning, context is important, governance is important, but nothing can happen without strong leadership.
Now about education, what all this means is that just like our governments and our legislators need to think about the issues in one way, and how they are connected. In schools, we need to start addressing the changes as if they are one and not acting in silos or separately.
Το σημερινό συνέδριο είναι πολύ σημαντικό και για την Κύπρο αλλά και για την Ευρώπη ευρύτερα. Ασχολείται με το θέμα της εκπαίδευσης για την αειφόρο ανάπτυξη μέσα από μια ολιστική προσέγγιση. Άρα το μήνυμα είναι ότι πρέπει να προχωρήσουμε στο μετασχηματισμό των εκπαιδευτικών μας συστημάτων μέσω αυτής της νέας προσέγγισης, ολιστικά και όχι μέσω μεμονωμένων δράσεων. Αυτό μπορεί να γίνει κατορθωτό αν υπάρχει ισχυρή πολιτική βούληση, αν υπάρχουν οι υποδομές, οι δομές, η στήριξη στους εκπαιδευτικούς και την ηγεσία των σχολείων και βεβαίως η καλλιέργεια δεξιοτήτων ζωής στα παιδιά μας. Σε αυτές όλες τις κρίσεις που βιώνουμε, η απάντηση είναι να θωρακίζουμε τα παιδιά μας.
Η διάσταση της αειφορίας και η καθιέρωση ολιστικών σχολικών προσεγγίσεων επί της ουσίας συνάδει με την βασική αρχή για την ποιότητα και την ποιοτική εκπαίδευση. Ως εκ τούτου συνεπάγονται ριζοσπαστικές και ριζικές αλλαγές, οι οποίες έχουν να κάνουν πια με το ίδιο το περιεχόμενο και την ουσία της εκπαίδευσης.
Many of the things that we learn in education are about keeping the world the way it is. And one of the questions we need to ask in education is, how are we going to teach people and learn with people to help them to understand how to change the world towards how it needs to become?
One of the things that makes people unheard, especially young people, is the fact that we keep talking about future solutions while we're already living the problem. And a lot of the decision makers are much older than most young people, and the burden is falling on the young people on the decisions that have been taken and are being taken right now without actually listening to them and taking them into account. What young people are actually saying is, don't only shape solutions based on what you need as older decision makers right now, but also include us so that we can shape our own future later.
A lot of the education we're doing at the moment is telling our young people that the future is doomed.
Αυτό που μου δίνει ελπίδα και μου δημιουργεί και το αίσθημα μεγαλύτερης ευθύνης λόγω της θέσης που έχω, είναι η βούληση που υπάρχει από μέρους των νέων μας, των μαθητών μας, των μαθητριών μας, αλλά και των εκπαιδευτικών για αλλαγή. Συνεπώς, αυτό που χρειάζονται είναι να τους δώσουμε τα μέσα και μέσω του συνεδρίου του σημερινού τους προτείνουμε τα εργαλεία και τα μέσα για να θωρακίσουν τα παιδιά, να έχουμε τους ενεργούς πολίτες του αύριο.
What I see in my everyday life or everyday work day, it's a very emotional way how they want to express themselves, what they are learning, what they are improving by themselves, and they need to speak and to give their contribution in every field they can be more related. So this is the school right now we want to have, not the formal traditional school, but the open school when people are engaged with the new initiatives, with new engagements with community or other activities in schools where they feel better themselves. So this is a very important moment for our schools.
The architecture and the design of the spaces, the quality of spaces we are exposed to, they definitely have a profound influence on the learning, on how we feel, how our health and well-being is forming throughout the life cycle. And this is actually not what I think, but there is a strong data and strong scientific consensus behind that too. So yes, there is definitely a profound link between the spaces we live in, environments we are exposed to every day, day in and day out, and our capacity of learning, capacity of creativity, our well-being, and all things related. So in that way, I can say the environments are very, very important to us, and also to the learning, to the education system as well.
This conference and the approach that Cyprus have taken to leadership during the EU presidency is really important, and the focus on a whole of institution approach. So it's not just about training teachers or changing textbooks or reforming the curriculum. It's also about looking at school architecture. So it's about looking at different pathways to third level education. So this whole of institution approach is really important as a framework not only for Cyprus but across Europe. And of course, education for sustainable development and global education, we have a long-term perspective through the Dublin Declaration on Global Education to 2050. So we're looking beyond the SDGs to a future that is more hopeful, where peace might prevail and where human rights and social justice might be what we experience in the world.
Ο τρόπος για να γεννήσει έναν gap μεταξύ generations είναι να κάνεις include όλα τα generations μέσα σε ένα process που τον ονομάζουμε co-creation.
Education, if done the right way, is actually a laboratory in democracy.
In order to change the system, you want to make some noise, you want to have this uncomfortable change period, as one might say. But in general, today has been very constructive in the sense of dialogue, but also networking, because the stakeholders that are here today are from various and very diverse backgrounds, which is not usually the case, to be honest, because they in many different events they don't like hearing all the different point of views. They like hearing what they believe in. So listening to all these different points of views it's a breath of fresh air, I'd say.
Η αλλαγή δεν ξεκινά με την αλλαγή. Η αλλαγή είναι λιθαράκι. Κάθε μικρή μάχη που κερδίζεις, που έχει να κάνει με το γενικότερο αξιακό κώδικα, ο οποίος θα πρέπει να μας καθοδηγεί όλους. Κάθε μικρή μάχη που κερδίζεις, το πώς φτιάχνεις ανθρώπους οι οποίοι έχουν συναίσθηση, στηρίζονται στην ελπίδα, νοιάζονται για τον άλλον. Είναι υγιείς πολίτες και δεν είναι πολίτες απλά για να ασκούν κριτική, αλλά είναι πολίτες οι οποίοι σκέφτονται με κριτικών τρόπο. Το μόνο του είναι η ελπίδα ότι μπορεί να υπάρξει αλλαγή.
I think what's so exciting about the energy the young people bring to this conversation is that they are open to new ideas much more than I guess us elders are. We have been trained to think more narrowly, and I think they're more open to other possibilities than we are.
Future is important for the younger generation, and it's I think what is important is to give them hope for the future and not just give like difficult messages. Try to enable them to grasp and understand the challenges ahead, but then also enable them to craft future visions that are both sustainable, empowering and resilient for them.
Αξίζουν έναν καλύτερο μέλλον τα παιδιά μας, το βλέπουμε, είναι πολύ ελπιδοφόρο το μήνυμα και το σημερινό συνέδριο μπορεί να λειτουργήσει καταλυτικά σε ευρωπαϊκό επίπεδο.
Well, Cypriot example is really inspiring. Of course, that's at the level of international policy. However, anyone who works directly with young people in schools or in youth organizations, or who works with adults who are interested in learning how to change the world, there you see hope, because this is an absolute antidote to the despair that has been proposed and pushed by those who would prefer us to be fighting with each other.
Η αλλαγή δεν είναι κάτι που κερδίζεται από τη μια μέρα στην άλλη. Είναι μια συνεχής προσπάθεια και ο ρόλος και η ευθύνη δική μας είναι να κρατούμε ζωντανό τούτον το όραμα της αλλαγής, όχι ως μια θεωρητική ουτοπία, αλλά ως μια συγκροτημένη πραγματικότητα.